Last week, the opposition made headlines. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar and his deputy Tejashwi Yadav of the RJD met Congress leaders Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi, AAP's Arvind Kejriwal, and the CPM's Sitaram Yechury. Earlier, they also met NCP Supremo Sharad Pawar. From what has emerged, these were not just meet and greet sessions. After several efforts that petered out due to differences, the opposition leaders appear to have risen above them. The result? Concrete plans to take on the BJP in 2024 election. What was discussed? How will these plans shape up? Let's ask my colleague and senior journalist Puneet Yadav. Puneet, thank you for joining. My first question to you is: what were the points discussed in the opposition meetings last week?
See, there are a slew of issues, but let me first say that these discussions, they've been going on for some time, but they're still at a very, very preliminary stage. So what we're hearing right now may not ultimately pan out the way it is being projected at this moment. Having said that, there are various concerns among opposition parties, which each of these leaders that you talked about have raised within these discussions that you mentioned, and also otherwise when they meet other political outfits which are not necessarily part of the discussions that took place last week. The points that they have broadly outlined is one, the need for opposition parties to join ranks and take on the BJP electorally, because the BJP, as we have seen over the last 9 years now, has become a sort of an invincible, electoral party, electoral machine, where even though they may lose some elections at the state level, they seem very, very invincible at the central level, at the Lok Sabha level, because of various factors, primarily the Prime Minister's persona, his ability to get votes, and also the BJP's own narrative, the issues of polarization, etc. So one was the need to get together. Now, why was there this need to get together? One, the first thing on the agenda was, of course, to stop the BJP electorally. But there is also a realization within a lot of the opposition parties that if they do not, look past their differences, if they do not bury their ego tussles and their, this petty bickering that we see among themselves all the time, then they may not really have much left after the 2024 elections if they lose the 2024 elections. So a lot of the opposition parties are seeing 2024 as perhaps their last chance for a very long time to bounce back electorally. The Congress, being the principal opposition party, has the maximum to lose. They came down to 44 seats in 2014. They could, despite a very, very, raucous electoral campaign on various issues ranging from Rafale to corruption to etc., a whole lot of other things of lapses of the government on the policy and political level, they could only shore up from 44 to 52. For the Congress, which is the principal opposition party, the problem now is how do you, you've got a situation where your preeminent prime ministerial candidate has been disqualified. Whether he's able to contest the 24 elections or not depends on how, his appeal against his conviction and his sentence of 2 years in a criminal defamation case pan out in the courts. Nonetheless, the opposition parties believe that this is a turning point. This is a tipping point. They cannot wait any longer. Beyond 24, they may not have a future. So that is what is driving all of them to sort of look past their internal problems, their mutual distrust of each other. The other thing also is the allegation of these opposition parties of the way the center is allegedly misusing various agencies at its command the CBI, the ED, the income tax, to target opposition leaders. Rahul Gandhi has been disqualified in a criminal defamation case. Arvind Kejriwal was questioned yesterday by the CBI. His closest are Mr. Manish Sisodia and Mr. Satyendra Jain are already behind bars. They're facing trial. From the Bharat Rashtra Samiti, Kavita, the daughter of the Telangana chief minister, is already facing an investigation. Lalu Yadav and his family from the RJD, they are facing investigations. And in fact, you had this play out very poorly for the opposition last week when 14 of these parties banded together, moved the Supreme Court asking for pre and post arrest guidelines in cases where opposition leaders are targeted, and the Supreme Court refused to enter that, to entertain that petition, and the council, Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi of the Congress, had to withdraw the petition. But his argument is that 95% of the cases by each of these probe agencies are only against opposition leaders, and there is a very clear attempt at vindictive politics, at targeting of these leaders, putting them behind bars and emasculating their parties. So, how do you combat all of that? For the opposition parties, the answer seems to be an electoral alliance, despite the unwieldiness of it, despite the trust deficit among these leaders. They think that if they are able to come together, they'll be able to defeat the BJP and then reverse this tide of their own political downslide, electoral downslide, and the rot that they claim is setting into democracy and the constitutional institutions.
But Puneet, earlier also such efforts were made, many opposition unity efforts were made earlier too. What is the difference this time? Or at least, is there any difference this time?
There is a difference. As I pointed out, there is a sense among the opposition parties that they cannot wait any longer for, basically for the BJP to gobble them up and to, just walk into the sunset, their leaders and their cadre and their party all in tow. And this targeting that they claim by the agencies to put all these leaders behind bars, emasculate their parties. So this is something that has now reached a point where the opposition leaders believe that nobody in the opposition space for the government is now, for the government's vindictive politics, is an untouchable. Previously, we would see cases being filed against political leaders. All governments have done that. But then those cases, for whatever reasons, never reached a conclusion, in the sense that these people rarely, did you see an election, a political party, the top leadership being put behind bars. That is happening now for the first time. The Prime Minister claims that this is his war on corruption. He has already spoken about it, and that's the line that he has given to the BJP workers, to the BJP leadership, that my government is the only government in the last 75 years to take on corruption, to hold everybody to account. The opposition says that this is vindictive politics. You are framing us in cases basically to demolish your rivals. And that is the tipping point.
At what point do you expect the results to show, Puneet, ahead of this year's assembly elections, or only before the Lok Sabha elections next year?
Nisha, as I said, that these are very preliminary discussions. There are a lot of issues that the opposition parties have to resolve among themselves. My sources tell me that when Mr. Nitish Kumar and Mr. Tejashwi Yadav met Mr. Kharge, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress president, and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and then later when they met Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, the Delhi chief minister, one of the ideas that was discussed, and this was apparently from what my sources say, an idea that came from Rahul, that you hold a shivir, a camp of opposition leaders for 2 days or 3 days or even one day, hold a shivir where all opposition parties, all like-minded opposition parties that, in principle agree to come together, can come together at one common venue, discuss all issues that have, that they have among themselves and against each other, and then explore the answers and the way forward. That is one of the ideas that is on the table. The other idea that is on the table is that out of the 543 Lok Sabha seats, at least make sure that on 370 to 400 seats, the opposition has only a single candidate against the official candidate of the BJP and turns it into a one-on-one fight instead of a fragmented opposition where different opposition parties are fielding their candidates in the absence of an alliance, a pre-poll alliance, and each of them are chewing into the anti-BJP vote and giving the BJP an advantage. But these are all, my sense is, these are all discussions only with 2024 in mind. So how they pan out, we'll only know closer to maybe the end of this year or early next year. I don't see these alliance talks working out for assembly elections. The reason for that also is that the assembly elections that are due at this, for the remainder of this year, Karnataka, you already have the elections coming up next month. The candidates have already been announced. The campaign is already on. So you don't see the possibility of a JDS BJP or a JDS Congress alliance happening there. Later in the year, you have Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, and Telangana. Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh anyway is Congress versus BJP. You don't have any strong regional party or any smaller national party contesting these elections and posing a threat to either of these. The Aam Aadmi Party has declared that it's going to contest, but the Aam Aadmi Party does not have any base in any of these states to wean away a huge chunk of votes from either the Congress or the BJP and make a difference in the outcome. So, I mean, it makes more sense for them to have this closer to 2024. The other reason for it also is, and this is an important reason, is that each of these states, it's the Congress which is the dominant opposition party or the principal opposition party against the BJP. And the Congress also, we've seen over the last 2 years, questions being raised within the opposition on the Congress's ability to take on the BJP. The Congress believes that it's on a very strong footing in Karnataka and will form the government. They believe that they're also on a very strong footing in Chhattisgarh, and with a little bit of luck, plus huge doses of some internal mechanisms to deal with their own factional feud in Rajasthan or issues in Madhya Pradesh. With a little bit of luck, they may also manage to win MP as well as Rajasthan. So that is 4 out of the 5 election-bound states, 4 big states which the Congress thinks they are in a position to win. If that happens, the Congress automatically comes to its previously held pole position within the opposition and lead the talks, plus prove that they are not out of the game. They can still contest against the BJP and defeat the BJP. And so there will be a certain buoyancy within the party and even among the other opposition parties which do not have that kind of trust in the Congress at the moment. They may think that, okay, the Congress is on a revival. It's on a bounce back. So, bring the Congress in, have a pan-India alliance, or pan-India, but state-specific. As in, in states where the Congress is weak, it cedes ground to, say, a Trinamool or an Aam Aadmi Party or, any of the Samajwadi Party and others. Where the Congress is strong, the other opposition parties put their expansion plans on hold and say that, no, let the Congress lead the alliance. So this will play out closer to the 2024 elections, not in the assembly elections.
Puneet, my last question to you is somewhat along the lines of what you just said. So, in spite of the opposition bonhomie, yesterday, Congress leader Ajay Mekhan said Kejriwal's involvement in the liquor policy case should be dealt with seriously, and this comes from him after the Congress crying horse about ED and CBI being used as BJP government's weapons. So, do you think this unity work done by the top leadership may actually get undone by the next rung of leaders?
See, that is at the moment for the Congress, particularly for the Congress, the biggest challenge. Because the Congress sees itself as this national party which has a finger in each pie in each of the states, and it believes that it should not cede its ground any further to any of these opposition parties, even like-minded parties. Now, when Mr. Nitish Kumar and Mr. Tejashwi Yadav met Rahul and Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, I believe, my sources tell me that this point was brought up, that there are various opposition parties which may want to have an alliance with you, but they do not see the possibility of an alliance working out because of your big brother attitude and because of the internal mechanism, the internal friction between your state unit and the party. So, for instance, in West Bengal, the Congress is a fierce rival, despite having very little electoral ground and electoral presence. It's a fierce rival of Mamata Banerjee, who is a key opposition leader. Similarly, in Delhi and in Punjab, the Congress is pitted against the Aam Aadmi Party, which nationally wants to project itself as a BJP rival. In Telangana, where elections are due, you have the situation of the Congress pitted against the BRS, which again wants to take that space of the anti-BJP opposition. What my sources tell me was that Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Mr. Kharge both told Nitish Kumar, who is likely to now talk to the BRS chief, talk to Mamata Banerjee. He has already spoken to Arvind Kejriwal. But the message from the Congress leadership was that we are willing to look past the problems of our state unit, but only for the 2024 elections, not for the state elections. But for 2024, for Lok Sabha, we are willing to look past the concerns of the state unit if we are assured of this opposition unity, this alliance working out, and we are assured that we will not be pushed against the wall by the opposition party concerned. So the Aam Aadmi Party, the Trinamool, etc. During the seat sharing talks. So the Congress believes that say in Delhi, where you have 7 Lok Sabha seats, they would want a situation where they are also given a seat to contest, and the Aam Aadmi Party does not say that, last 2 elections, you've not been able to win a single assembly seat. Why should we give you a Lok Sabha seat? Now, these are internal problems that they need to figure out. The kind of bickering that you're seeing from the likes of Mr. Ajay Mekhan, saying that the Congress should not even give its lawyers to represent Manish Sisodia or Arvind Kejriwal, because Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhi, who's a Congress leader and a member of the Congress steering committee, is Mr. Manish Sisodia's lawyer. So Mr. Mekhan has said he should not represent, Mr. Sisodia. This is also born out of compulsion at the state level, because in the state you're fighting against the Aam Aadmi Party. But whether this, it is now for the Congress to figure out whether you're able to look past this, risk a rebellion, because that will come next if the Congress completely surrenders to the Aam Aadmi Party in Bengal, in Delhi or in Punjab, or completely surrenders to the Trinamool in Bengal, then the cadre in these states might say that, what's the point of being in the Congress if you're not even going to get a chance to contest? Let's just move to the Trinamool or to the Aam Aadmi Party. So these are all problems for the Congress to now sort out. They're not so much a problem for the regional parties, but a major problem for the Congress.
Thank you for your inputs, Puneet. Viewers, Puneet's detailed story on this topic titled Mission 2024 is on the federal website. Please read that for more details. I've also attached the link to that story below in the description box. Follow the federal for more such updates.
Subscribe to the Federal's YouTube page for more interesting updates.